Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about my experience using speaking online tools with secondary students. I basically teach ESO and Bachillerato, so from 12 to like 18-year-olds. And 20 minutes is very little time, so this is just an overview, just to give you a taste of what you could potentially do in class, and hopefully to give you some ideas that you could apply to your own lessons. So, as Christine said, I'm an English teacher and the head of the English department at Escola Sant Gregori in Barcelona, which is on Tibidabo, and it's a primary and secondary school, so we have a wide range of ages. And basically, I think everybody is aware, I mean, especially if you're here, that there's a wide variety of tools, online tools to work on speaking. This is just a quick look. I'm sure you'll be familiar with like Voki. Can you see it if I? Yeah, so Voki, VoiceThread, Vocusopop, I mean, there are millions. These ones basically focus on speaking individually, not speaking interaction, and this is what we're going to talk about first. And in the 20 minutes I have, I just wanted to talk to you about one single one, which is AudioBoom. It's one that I've been using with my students for quite a long time now. It used to be called AudioBoom, and now it turned to AudioBoom, so just if you want to make a note of the website. And basically, it's really easy to use. You just need to sign up, create an account. And what I recommend is you create 2 accounts, one for you to start playing with it and like testing it out before you actually use it with your students, and then one for every class you teach. With my students, what I do is I create an account for ESO 2, which is Sant Gregori English 2, one account for ESO 3, Sant Gregori English 3, one account for ESO 4, so it's easy to memorize for them and for you. So the recordings are separate, they're neatly organized, you don't need to get confused about who recorded what when. And the password is a very subliminal one. I always use the same one, I love English. So, I mean, if you're just trying to make things easy for them, it's all systematic and just very simple, yeah? So in any case, you would go to Sant Gregori English, whatever your year is, and I love English, because they all do. And then after you've signed up for the first time, you just need to log in. And this is what students do. Just go to audioboom.com, and they just log in. I'm going to show you an actual example I did with ESO 3 students, so like 14-year-olds, to work on telling anecdotes. This was the language of aim. And it was individual speaking, but there was also some sort of interaction asynchronously. So after the students had recorded their anecdotes, they posted questions for their classmates. So there is some sort of both individual speaking and like pair work speaking, if you wish, but on a different sort of time frame. What I did, students do get a bit overwhelmed when they have to be recorded, just like I'm a bit overwhelmed right now, because, I mean, everything you record stays, and that is a bit daunting, right? So you need to take that into account. Students might be a bit reluctant to get recorded, especially to get their image recorded, so that's why I work mainly with voice, not with image, because they're very self-conscious of their image when they're a teenager. So basically, they find it a bit daunting the first time they do it. And that's why I set it up in a very sort of laid back way for them not to feel too pressurized, especially the first few times. So this particular time, the first time I did this task, we were working on an anecdote. They had written an anecdote, a childhood anecdote, themselves as a writing task, which we had worked on and they had corrected it. And we used that as the starting point for their speaking task. So they didn't feel they were doing something new from scratch, that they didn't have an idea, or that they had to improvise. This causes a lot of stress to them, yeah? So, I mean, obviously the aim is for them to be able to speak freely, but there needs to be some sort of staging, like guidance and scaffolding, before they actually, you can let go of their hand, yeah? So, what I did was, I gave them their compositions back, we worked on them, see if they had no questions, and in class, the first time we did this, they summarized their composition, composition is a taboo word, their writing task, in keywords. So like basically main chunks of words. I told them not to write any sentences down, because the idea is not for them to memorize or to read out from the text, but to be able to elaborate from the main ideas they have jotted down. So this is the first thing they did. We went round, see if they had any questions. And then I showed them how the tool worked, how AudioBoom worked. We actually did a sample recording in class, just for them to see that it's super easy. I mean, I gave them the username, the password. We did a sample recording. They realized they could do it at home without any problems. And I gave them a week to record their anecdotes. I think this is also important to bear in mind. If you do it from one day to the next, it's impossible. Students are going to have other things to do. They may have technical problems too. So at least a week, I would say, is good just for them to actually get time to do it. Once all the students had done their recordings, which were on Audioboom, the Audioboom website, the rest of their classmates had to post one question per classmate. One question asking for more details, asking for clarification. I mean, they don't need to be very philosophical questions, just something to ask for more information. And the person recording the text had to answer the questions, this time recording them. So there were sort of two recordings and one written slot in the middle, yeah? And because this was the first time students were really excited after having been successfully, recording their text, and they asked me if we could listen to all the recordings again in class, to which I obviously agree because this only boosts their motivation. So we listened to the recordings again in class, and this time I gave them feedback one by one, publicly, so in open class. But what I usually do is give them feedback, recording it on the Audioboom website too. So their recordings, the questions, and their answers, and their feedback is all together in one boo, which is what the recording is called. Let me just show you the actual example. I asked Mark, the student, for permission. He was a bit embarrassed, but I mean, he's not here today, so. So this is SO3, like I said. It's San Gregori's English, and it's called boos. The boos are just the recordings. These are the recordings the students did. And you see, it looks a little bit like Facebook, where you can like or dislike, yeah? And these are the questions that the students wrote. The good thing about this is they're all using the same account. So, I mean, if you like, you like it as San Gregori English 3. You don't like it as you personally. And so that's why they wrote their name, by Llorenç, by, yeah? I think it makes it easier. So let me show you the recording. The anecdote was called The Chocolate. He posted a neat picture. And I have it here. Okay. Well, this is the Audioboom website, which I already showed you. Sign up, log in. And this is the recording. See what you think.
I used to go to the zoo when I was little, but now I don't go. When I was 3 years old, I went to the zoo to see a lot of animals. We eat excellent food, but at the dessert I swallow some chocolate. Oh, and I cook. I was very scared, but a doctor made me split. First I felt scared, but later I felt lucky and happy. The first that I did was throw away the chocolate. The moral is, shouldn't eat fast. Now I eat very slowly.
I mean, this is a 14-year-old student. As you can see, he was very nervous. There's quite a lot of repetition in his text, but this is basically because he's not reading from the text. He just has the keywords, and then he's remembering things as he goes. So he's repeating things to give himself more time to actually think. I thought that this was a very fun and funny activity because this is just so sweet. I mean, he admitted himself, this was like the 8th time he recorded this. He said, Miss, I was so nervous that every time I started the activity, I was like, no, okay, hold on again. So he was speaking into the recording. And that's another of the advantages, that you can record it as many times as you wish, and it doesn't really matter. So he just chose the best one. And so basically, of course, he was very proud that he was able to do this. And here were his classmates' questions, some of his classmates' questions. So why did you eat fast? I mean, come on. Did you eat chocolates, or did you eat chocolate again? Why do you not go to the zoo now? Very good anecdote, so a bit of feedback here too. But now you eat chocolate very often. I mean, you see, this is spontaneous. So I mean, they do make mistakes, but that's really not the point. The point is for them to interact. So loads of questions for Mark. And then what he did was answer the questions by recording a reply. And here are his replies. He replied one by one, so student by student. Look. This one is not working. Okay, this one.
Enrique,
there you go.
Now I don't go to the zoo because I'm big.
I'm big. He's actually quite short, so that's funny too.
Julia, I spend all the afternoon in the zoo.
So he goes replying one by one.
For answer Llorenç Pedret question, I say that it's because I swallow a very big chocolate. And for answer Alejandra's question, I say that it's because I was a child. All the chills eat fast.
I was a chill, okay. I was a child, obviously.
For answer Elena Rodriguez question, I say that my parents didn't say me anything because they were scared.
You can see the difference. I mean, the first recording is a bit more prepared, if you wish, whereas the second recording is just spontaneous. So he obviously makes more mistakes in the second recording than the first. But still, I mean, I think the activity was really successful. The students really enjoyed it, and they obviously asked for more. It was very simple to use, both for me and for them, and less threatening than doing it in class, because I didn't feel my presence there, or anybody's presence there. They could do it, in their homes. They could record it as many times as they wished. So they felt very at ease. The element of trust was that some of them had done the composition by computer, so they could have potentially printed the text out and read it from the actual composition. But I trusted them not to do that, because it was obvious. It would have been obvious if they had read it out. And they knew this was for speaking practice, not for reading practice. So none of them actually did. And this is really good, because it gets students to listen to each other, which often they don't do, and also to interact with each other. I mean, when students do a presentation in class, sometimes the presentation is over. Any questions? Everybody's just thinking about their own presentation, or like, oh, am I next? So like nobody really interacts with the speaker. And this is actually really good to encourage questions and like interaction. It's meaningful interaction, because the students really want to find out more about that story. And usually the stories they tell are the funny stories. I mean, nothing traumatic or anything, so there is something interesting. And something I also wanted to tell you about, I've been experimenting with Speak Apps, is that Audioboo is a very good tool, but there are also other alternatives on Speak Apps, and the perfect alternative is Langblog. I mean, there's Tandem too, and there's video chat. Let me just quickly tell you about Langblog. You can find it at the Speak Apps website, and this is basically works the same as Audioboo. And it allows students not only to record their voice, but also to record videos if they wish. That's why I said with teenagers, the video option is not so widely used, because I did suggest it, and they were like, Miss, we really don't want to record ourselves like on video. I think this is a bit pushing it. So I said, okay, fine. Voice is already okay. Again, it's very intuitive, very easy to use, and it also gets students to interact with each other, because on the platform they can also leave comments and like record comments. So, I recommend both Audioboo and Langblog. And if you want something not only for individual speaking, but for speaking interaction, which is what often is lacking in class, Tandem is a great one. This is for same-time interaction, so synchronous interaction, not asynchronous. It's basically pair word speaking, so two speakers at the same time. One of the tasks that you can do with it is compare pictures, find differences, which is a very typical exam task, especially with official exams. And students learn to share their opinions, agree, disagree, basically interact with each other on the spot. So this is more of an improvised sort of speaking. And finally, the last one is video chat, which I think is quite self-explanatory. It's also for synchronous interaction, but for group speaking this time. And students can record their voice again only, or a video. This is for without the teacher, so speaking sessions without the teacher. And it's possible to record without downloading anything special. So it's very easy to use. Just as a quick overview, what are the advantages of using online tools to help our students with speaking? Well, first of all, like Christine mentioned, we cannot give them endless hours of exposure to English. So they need more exposure outside of the classroom, and speaking tools are free, are accessible, they're very easy to use, so they're a great resource. I've just written a couple of things, see would you agree? Speaking in class would be on the spot, not planned, it would be fast, with the teacher there, whereas speaking online gives the students a bit more time to think, a bit more time to rehearse. It adds an element of fun because it is recorded afterwards, so you better do it well because you're going to be listened to, which adds a little bit of pressure on the students' part, but also increases their performance, and that's great. So their performance improves, and their self-esteem also improves because they see they can do it, just like Christine was saying. When they listen to themselves again, they're like, oh wow, so that was not as bad as I thought. So, especially when everybody in the class feels in the same position and everybody's listening to everyone's recordings, they'll know, okay, it'll be my turn next, so I better not laugh at this one because people are going to laugh at me otherwise. So I think it's great for peers, working on peer pressure too. Another thing is students feel embarrassed and overwhelmed, especially if they're the same language. It feels very odd to be speaking to somebody who speaks your own language in a foreign language. I mean, this is just weird, even as a teacher. So for students, when they're teenagers, even more. Whereas doing it from home, doing it in the privacy of their homes, gives them more, intimacy, if you wish. Less threatening, because the teacher's not there. And also the one last thing is, maybe in class, students may have a lot of questions. Students may lack a lot of the language they need, but if you plan it beforehand so they can take all the structures home, the scaffolding really helps them. And in this way, for example, the keywords act as a safety net, so they can have something to look at, to hold on to in case of doubt. And basically, the 20 minutes are over, hopefully. So that's all from me. That was super fast. Here's my email if you want to contact me. And here's my wiki. You're a real keener. This is what my students say. Miss, it's una motivada. You're a real keener. I usually post activities here, or like sessions, or anything that I can think of, basically. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Thanks so much for being here on a Saturday morning, and enjoy the rest of the conference.